Listen, I know y'all are so caught in the sensationalism of things. Y'all don't understand what really is going on in the world. And I get it. I really do. I understand people's plight. Now, let me take an even bigger stab at what's going on here. A lot of people are fans. And as fans, it's hard for them to differentiate between reality and nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Now, in reality or reality, there's been a major mistake on the table. And in that major mistake in reality, people get caught up in their own ambitions. What does that mean? Well, it means people's own ambition tells them what's real and what isn't real. In your mind, because you are a fan of Tupac Shakur, Sean Puffy Combs is guilty of setting up the hit on Tupac because you don't like Sean Puffy Combs. Based off this, the same people who've been dancing to his music, buying his records, the whole nine. You done drunk Ciroc, you been kicking it in the club, and you had no regards or no care to any of this beforehand. Now, other people are telling you and feeding you a fantasy to make you believe this man is responsible for something that he isn't. And I'm here to let you know that this reality just isn't true. Mm-mm. It just isn't true. And what's even more than that, because there's more to the equation. What's even more to it than that is the fact that y'all want Puffy to be guilty so bad. Y'all are going to great lengths to try to prove something that isn't true. Tupac wrongly accused Sean Puffy Combs of being involved in the shooting in the Quad Studios, saying Biggie and Tupac had something to do with it, which is 100% not true and is a lie. Biggie nor Puffy had anything to do with that. By now, everybody should know the truth behind that. So if you know that, they had nothing to do with him being shot. Why was he mentioning them in records? Knowing he was told numerous times this was not the case. Puffy Combs or nor Biggie had nothing negative to say about Tupac Shakur. The whole time he was in prison. Not one time were they going around talking negatively about it. When the Vibe magazine came out, that's when everybody was like, what? That's when they realized Tupac Shakur had a problem with them. So they stayed quiet through the whole thing. It's like, this is crazy. Then once Hit 'Em Up came out, that's when they decided to break their silence. But it wasn't before then. Now, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. For real. How y'all sit there and blame a man for something he didn't do when we complain about black folks being accused of stuff they haven't done and being tried over stuff they had nothing to do with? So now, in the midst of this, Suge Knight has a problem. Suge Knight has a problem with Puffy. Their problem became a serious problem once one of Suge's guys was shot and killed in Atlanta. Puffy told very inaccurate results as to what happened that night, as his story made no goddamn sense. But it was his story. And many went off that. But it was clear why he was saying the story he was given, due to the fact of the nature of what went down and that someone lost their life. Puffy don't want to talk about that situation because something could easily be brought up and another case could be made. Now, let's get to the next stanza in the whole situation. Well, you have a lot of doomed perceptions out there in the world. You know, there are a lot of perceptions that are made that are very untrue, unsettling, and just basically incorrect. I've watched a lot of you jump to the conclusions based off, I don't know, the internet clips. Most of you weren't even alive in 95, in 96. You don't remember any of this. You all are babies to this. So I forgive you for being lost. Now, the way I see it, it's clear. You have too many different situations transpire. You have a Suge Knight situation, and Tupac is adopting that by going after Biggie. And he's only going after Biggie because Puffy and Biggie are now the top of hip hop. They're the big dogs. So to take them down was something he really wanted to do because he was felt blindsided and disrespected at the fact that they never donated any money to him while he was locked up, though he supported them by letting Biggie perform at his shows and blow up and do all these things. But for him, they just kicked him to the curb. He didn't like that very much. Let's just say he was very turned off by that notion, felt betrayed. So that's when it became personal. Now, the Keefe D connection. Why? Where did they meet Keefe D? Why was Keefe D there? Well, Suge Knight was affiliated with the MOB Bloods, right? Blood Pyru Gang. So, being associated with Crip members, who's the natural enemy of those guys, and hiring them for extra protection from the streets, one, it can kind of keep you safe while you're out in LA traveling. So their affiliation with him on that note would definitely be there. But to say Tupac Shakur put out a hit or Puffy put out a hit on Tupac would be the stupidest thing anybody has ever tried to do in the history of music. One, $1 million for a hit. That is the dumbest thing. Those are crackhead prices. Who in the hell in this world would pay $1 million for a hit? Okay, this isn't a movie. Nobody's gonna pay $1 million for a hit. Nowhere. I don't care if it's the president. The million will probably be used to orchestrate something like that, but not for the actual job itself. It would be far less. And this is at a time where guys wasn't just waving around millions of dollars. Sean Puffy Combs didn't even have money like that. Okay? Nothing ties back to Sean Puffy Combs and $1 million check that was written for the hit and all that. Nope. Zip was given money to start a club. That was it. There was no money meant for no hit for no Tupac Shakur. Sean Puffy Combs knows that's bad for business. Taking out Tupac is not going to help their case at all. That just makes the case even worse. The situation is even greater than, as you saw. They had nothing to do with it, and Biggie's life was in danger right along with Sean Puffy Combs and everybody else who was around the situation. It became a dire situation for people who was involved and not involved at all. As you can see, Biggie lost his life for nothing. So to sit there and implicate Puffy, and I'm a huge Tupac fan, but I'm gonna tell you the real. I can't sit there and blame somebody for something they did not do. Sean Puffy Combs did not have anything to do. There was no paid hit. This man is Keefe D is a rat. Okay, he's the worst kind of rat. He will do anything to keep from to reduce his time and get out of jail. He might have put his own life in danger. He might not even make it to trial. They put him in general pop just for him working with law enforcement. That's already a no-no, supposedly, even for what he represents. So if you know that, then you know that there's no way you could really trust anything that's pouring out of his mouth. He'll say anything for money. He'll do anything. Sell you out. Any damn thing. Can't trust nothing he's saying. Now, Keefy D wants to say Puffy should have helped me because he was my friend. He should help me out. I ain't never got my money, my $1 million. I would believe that the fact that I would believe somebody like Keefy D would go to Puffy and say, "Man, shoot, you pay me $1 million, man, I take care of it." And Puffy probably looked at him like he was stupid. Then an incident happened, and they ended up going to do it. Like, yeah, we took care of that work for you. Yeah, so that $1 million, just come on with the $1 million. Like, are you out your mind? Let's see why Puffy. Do you see why Puffy don't deal with him? Why would Puffy be around him after some stupid stuff like that? You didn't just murder one of the biggest entertainers in the world. And then you coming to Puffy like, hey man, I took care of that guy for you and took care of your problem. Think I can get my $1 million? Puffy ain't order no hit. Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. These people just don't even understand. This thing is completely stupid. If anybody believes that you either young or just caught up in fandom, there is absolutely no evidence to say Puffy ordered a hit on Tupac. Something as stupid as that does not help them in any way, shape, or form. So, yeah, that's it. Ain't nothing else to really say after that. I think that pretty much has addressed everything. So don't go expecting any Puffy's coming to testify in the case of the trial. We calling in Sean Puffy Combs for his involvement. Keefy D is a rat. Okay? He's just like Reggie Wright Jr. Okay? They are rats. And when you face with this type of reality, this type of situation that's on the forefront, this is what you're dealing with on the horizon. Now, granted, there's a lot of guys out there who don't seem to get it. They don't seem to understand the process, the nature, business, or how anything goes as far outside of fandom. And they look at Puffy was the bad guy, Tupac was the good guy. And Puffy wanted him taken out. Puffy, you have to remember, was not a billionaire. Okay? He barely was a millionaire. He didn't obtain his wealth until like 95 and 96. He was establishing it and was building himself up as far as Bad Boy Records. But he made the majority of his money after Big's death during the 97, 98 year is where he started to rake in the money. Other than that, he was living off of Clive Davis. So, no, he wouldn't have been paying for hits. Al Heyman and Clive Davis were backing Diddy at that time. Diddy didn't have the power of the city like that, where he's shot calling and calling hits in another state. I mean, come on. That's preposterous. One, he had nothing to do with Tupac Shakur's death, and that's just that. Then until somebody proves some solid evidence to even entertain it or try to dangle that in front of somebody like it was something that could have happened. Shame on people for that. Because that's something you don't wish on your worst enemy. You know, I don't care if I can't blame somebody for something they didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitively, we know the characters involved. We know what they did. We know the motive. So, our thing is the people who are responsible, nail them to the cross. Get them. But we also know there's other people in the shadows. But to think Diddy is that kind of guy, he never was. He's never displayed any of that type of behavior in the past with anybody else that had a problem with him. So, what made him stop? So, we got to get out of the fiction novel. And this isn't a Hallmark movie or a Lifetime or whatever you want to call it. This is reality. This is real life. So, what you want to do is put your focus on actually solving situations, right? Can't solve something living in a fantasy world trying to make someone guilty who isn't just because you want them to be. Focus on what's in front of you. Now, if you got 6 to 7 different people telling you the same result over and over again, and you just refusing to believe it just because you don't want to, then that makes you naive. That makes you jaded. And that makes you basically the American justice system. I don't like to alarm people. I like to tell people exactly what it is and move on from there. Was that an inside job? Did Reggie Wright Jr. have something to do with it? Since we're going to go with theories, was the LAPD involved? How exposed were they? Did Suge help set it up? All of these things and questions, all people could ask and bring to the forefront. The only name they want to bring up is Sean Puffy Combs. Let that sink in. Let's not forget the ridiculous story that was written and published in the newspaper that Biggie had flown down there and gave them the weapon. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's sad. And now people get to see why certain situations appear to be the way they are. People like to silence other people, and when you silence other people and hear one narrative, you start to see the entire scope of the main picture, you know. For us, it was a major difference when it came to representing what was real versus what was fake out there. We always wanted to make sure that we were doing everything basically correct. You didn't want to be incorrect in making assessments when it comes to people when it's dealing with their life and death and facing jail time, or did do it. You don't want to just go making accusations about people unless you have done your due diligence. So just something for the normal people out there in the world, if there are any left, just something for you to think about. All right. Once again, I'm out. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel, this channel here. Like I said, don't forget to join the Patreon. And if you're a VIP member, you'll be in line for a gift card that is the amount of a PS5. Since we were giving away a PS5, people started getting like, hey, what about me? You know, so all right, so here's how it's gonna go, people. Instead of a PS5, you're gonna get a gift card. All right, so that you can go anywhere and use it for anything. You will have it for the amount of a PlayStation 5. All right, there you go. And for everyone else who wants to support the channel and they missed out and feel they missed their opportunity, my Cash App is in the banner. It says Carcino for Life. Thank you guys. Appreciate you. What's up? Welcome to HD Two Eyes with the TV. I gotta catch you, man, on the live stream, so I gotta join. So I'm gonna be looking out for that. All right, I'm out.